put it in a perspective of, you know, I am a fully pardoned ex-convict, ex-gang member, recovered drug addict, alcoholic. But I want to put it in a perspective that what creates a gang member, what creates a criminal, what creates someone that becomes violent? A significant question. So for me, I'll tell you how I became criminal, violent gang member. Father wasn't very, his affection was he's punches me in the head to make me tough. He was an alcoholic, violent alcoholic. My whole family were racist. My dad was in the Ku Klux Klan when I was a kid. I don't know if he was a full-fledged member. I don't know anything about that stuff. I never really saw my father sober my whole childhood. And my mother, she was 14 years old when I was born. Or she was actually 14 years old when she conceived me, and then 15 when I was born. And she had at 17 she had my little brother. But my dad beat her so much, I don't remember, but by her accounts, she got beaten purple, and then finally when I was 3, she couldn't take the beating, so she ran. The rest of my family didn't like her anyways. The part of the family that took care of me was my dad's brother and 2 aunts and mother. And they were really fire and brimstone fundamentalist Christians. Everything's a sin. Everybody's a communist to them. And I didn't understand any of it. They were just always angry because my dad would come home drunk at night and beat everybody up and wreck the house, and everybody was unhappy. There was no happiness in the house. My uncle he believed in the Bible, when the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child, which means, he told me when I was a kid, that means I can beat you anytime I want because God said so. And he did. And my aunt liked to give me whippings. They call them whippings. And I don't know really why, because I always obeyed. But they just were angry, and they just took it out on me, I guess. And my aunt also molested me. She masturbated herself and masturbated me in the dark, and I'm pretending I'm sleeping. So that's my sexual abuse. It was confusing because I didn't know what other kids got, and I thought maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what I get for affection, and that's what but it didn't feel right, so I didn't ask anybody else. So it was just this kind of war zone all the time. And then I have to get up and go to school. What ended up happening is I'd sit outside the room, and nobody bothered to tell the kids, like, look, Jim's family are religious, so that's why he's out there. And so the kids, not knowing why I was out there, thought I was a freak, and they started bullying me. I get punched in the face, in the stomach, kicked in the balls, smashed down, body checked in the hallways by bigger kids, and had many concussions in my school years. Things kind of were getting worse and worse and worse. I never mind my dad, but my uncle, who never drank and never smoked, went to church 4 times a week, but he was a hard man. And one of these, I'll tell you this one story. I'll tell you this story because it's a story that changed my childhood. It ended my childhood. My mom, before she left when I was 3, she bought a dog. And this dog loved my brother and I, and hated the adults, would bite the adults if they come close. And this dog would have pups. And each time it would have pups, pups would get to a certain size and, gets barking and, too many dogs on the farm, and somebody get rid of them while we're at school. My uncle came to us, and he said, they're your dogs, you get rid of them, or I get rid of you. my uncle made my brother and I kill our dogs, and I had to hold their heads underwater until they were all dead. My little brother ran away, and I started crying. I started getting in trouble. And I became what my family called evil. I actually want to say a saying by an author whose name is Cahill Gibran, and it goes like this: what is evil except good, tortured by its own thirst? Now that describes me, because inside of me I was good. So I ran away. I was in math class and I just walked out to the front of the school, stuck my thumb out, and I hitchhiked for 1,000 miles. I didn't care where I was going. I landed in the downtown east side of Vancouver. And for the next 7 years, I was homeless. I started with putting needles in my arm. I started selling drugs on this very small level. 5 dime bags for the bikers, 5 dime bags, and make enough money to get 1 dime bag for myself, which is enough. And every day I did that. But if you sell drugs, sooner or later you get caught, and I got caught and I went to prison. My job was to take the garbage to the back door at the end of the day. They just assigned you these jobs. And at the back door, when I took the garbage truck driver was a gang member, and he gave me packages of cocaine to take in. And I did that, and they took me under their wing, and these were 35, 40-year-old bikers, white supremacist bikers. And they pulled me into their loot. They gave me tailor-made cigarettes. There was a guy that was the head guy. He was 6'7", 330-pound bodybuilding biker. I mean, he was huge. Tattoos everywhere, every inch of his body. And he took me down to the gym and he said, get on the bench, and I started pumping iron, and I got all these kudos. And that 40-year-old something white supremacist gang member gave me my first hug in my life. And that they became my family. And when they got out before I did, and when they told me, when I get out, come and see them. The guy knew that I had these demons inside, because he gave me some cocaine, first time I'd used cocaine, and I became just as violent as my father, and I had no idea that I had that capacity. And I became a drug debt collector. And the more cocaine I used, the more alcohol I drank, the more violent I got. And I just felt like I was a part of it. And they sucked me right in. And they used me I collected their money with my life. I've been shot at, stabbed, chased by cars, run down by cars, all kinds of crap. And I slept in backs of cars, I slept on porches, I was still homeless. After a few years, I became so violent that I was causing the cops to come and knock on doors. And they gave me some money and they said, disappear. That day I ended up in treatment. And in 4 days in treatment, I had a drug and alcohol seizure, and I was pronounced dead. And in that death place, I saw some things. I saw a few times in my life where someone had been kind to me, and I call them random acts of kindness by strangers. And there's just a few things, and the one thing that was happening was someone was putting apples and oranges on my bed. And so when I was dead, I thought, I wonder who's putting those apples and oranges, and why? Because usually someone does that, and that's later on that day or that night, they come and take something from me. Or, that's what I was used to. But nobody did for 4 days. And I thought, maybe that's what love is. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe that's what love is. I want to find out. And as soon as I thought that, bang, I was back in my body, and I was alive. And that's when my life changed.